Play. Out. 15.
It's so important to get off to a good start in these big matches. There's always a bit of nerves. You want to find your range and get things going, all these different areas of the court as quickly as possible.
Out. 13 left.
Yeah, Dolehide out of Hinsdale, Illinois, suburb of Chicago. So the third Midwesterner on court.
We mentioned Dolehide and Sanders, an established team. Last year had some big results at the Grand Slam level. Got to the semifinals of Wimbledon, as well as the quarters here at the US Open. So they have already gone one step further here.
Again, Dolehide, Sanders.
Yeah, the quarterfinals, they lost
First
to
game.
Sam Stosur, the Aussie, Zhang Shui, the Chinese player, who eventually won the title. So maybe they're trying to go down the same path. We'll see. They've off to a good start.
That's such an advantage when you're able to serve first and get on the board. Just frees you up, relaxes you a bit more, allows you to take a few more swings in return games. But this team, this duo, they have been terrific on serve thus far in this tournament.
Caty, McNally to
The only
serve.
match they really struggled on serve was when they did lose a set. So when they take care of their serves, tough to beat. Whoa, that was
Love
a
it,
rocket of a return. And that's one of Storm's strengths, is that return of serve.
Sometimes you get these early openings when one team is not quite ready, maybe a little more tension. And McNally down love 30 here.
Maybe feeling intimidated by that first return from Sanders. Let's see what she does with this second delivery.
Yeah, another big confident return from Sanders. And there's also the knowledge that Dolehide can whack the forehand. And so there's just a little trepidation and immediate break points for Dolehide and Sanders. Much better placement there for McNally, getting a little more side spin and slice on that serve.
Yeah, nothing like a break point for you to find your best serve.
Excellent hitting and shot tolerance from McNally. And not easy. Townsend not quite able to get into the play, but was ready for that volley. Really helping keep her team in this game.
Dolehide too made a nice reflex volley, so Everyone touched the ball in that exchange. So still a break point. Townsend with the winner.
Such a good play, having confidence to hit
Deuce.
shorter volley. Almost a drop volley from Townsend with Dolehide at the baseline. It's a perfect play.
That one was a little too high.
Advantage, Dolehide.
Good power on the volley.
McNally right now serving and staying back on just about every serve. Wonder if she'll start to mix in serving and volleying at some point, but under pressure again here.
Yeah, she's a very strong volleyer.
Deuce. Advantage, Dolehide.
Yeah, they're not fooling Sanders, are they, on the return? She's making good, clean contact. That was a tough low ball for Townsend.
Game.
Yeah, and there
Dolehide,
is the break.
Sanders.
This time it's Sanders
Dolehide, Sanders
intercepting.
lead,
She's
2
got the
games to
lefty
first set.
forehand in the center of the court. So good start for Dolehide and Sanders. There's a nice step out.
You've got to be
Storm,
ready
Sanders
immediately
to
to
serve.
take those opportunities. And Sanders, very quick with the first step and cutting those balls off.
I love the team.
You know, reflexes are a big part of doubles. There's Townsend with a nice volley.
That's such a good serve. The wide
Safety null.
serve from the lefty into the right-hander's backhand. Opens up so much court.
Yeah, that's a tough one to defend, isn't it, with the two-hander out there?
Especially when you're aware of the net person as the returner. Just don't have a lot of space to hit into.
Out. 30-15.
Although Townsend missed that return, it's good to try to keep that net person honest, to go up the line occasionally, do it early so that the team has to consider it.
Keep them honest up there.
Yeah, this will be a little bit of a challenge for McNally. She likes to try to get those sort of inside-out forehands, but with the lefty serve from Sanders, it'd be difficult with that spin going into her body.
Game. Dolehide, Sanders.
Yeah, pretty nice decision to use the lob there against the attack. Worked well. And so, Dolehide and Sanders have taken care of their serves, and they've broken once, and that's 3-love.
Taylor Townsend to serve.
All right, here's Taylor Townsend, 26 years of age, originally out of Chicago, Illinois. Serving at love 3.
Love 15.
Yeah, I don't think Sanders has missed a ball yet. She's really sharp. What a smash.
This is an important game for McNally and Townsend to try to get on the board, to hold serve, and really establish themselves here. First serves are critical. And Townsend's looking to be a little more aggressive after the serve. Oh, that is big time, though. Not quite as much on that serve from Townsend, and Sanders makes them pay. Didn't move her enough either, but still a terrific return.
Yeah, I know Sanders is from Rockhampton, but I didn't know she's playing like Laver. That's what she's doing today. Hasn't missed a ball, clicking the forehand beautifully. Gotta find a way through this. What can you do? Maybe go into the body, try and take it away from her wings. Let's see what Taylor decides to do.
Yeah, that was a little questionable whether that was going to go out, but when you are in doubt, you have to hit it. But Townsend just didn't commit to it. Excellent concentration from Townsend under pressure here. This is almost a must-win point, and she went for it. A brave shot, gave herself plenty of margin.
McNally.
Advantage, Townsend.
Saw both net players looking to make moves, and when you don't make that first move, as Dolehide didn't, really puts the person at the baseline in difficult position, and McNally capitalizing.
Well, that's a big game for Townsend, just to get on the board, get some momentum.
First set.
Kevin O'Neill, who's worked with Caty McNally for a number of years. Download the US Open app to follow your favorite players, track the latest scores, stats, match highlights. There's everything there, available in the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Love 15.
Last game, holding serve for McNally and Townsend was also important because it just puts a little more pressure on Dolehide and Sanders. It tightens the matchup just enough. Maybe they can get a few free points like that last one.
Out.
It's a lot different, you know, swinging
15.
away freely when you're up a break or up a double break even. Just feel like you have so much more cushion.
Out. 30-15.
Dolehide with the ability to go hard down the middle. That time swinging it out wide to Townsend's backhand. It's been nice changes of pace.
So look at the signal. She's going to stay in her position. Taylor's so good up at the net.
She has terrific hands and solid behind the ball, but very soft with the hands and just carving around that volley. That's textbook.
She went back well for that smash. Not some easy moves.
14-30.
Well, it's always the goal to try to take those balls in the air, if at all possible. You don't want to let those smashes bounce and then have to completely reset the point. So athletic moving from Dolehide to get under that ball.
Very quick exchange at the net. Sanders gets the best of it. That's 4-1 here in the opening set of this semifinal. Yeah, Dolehide and Sanders make a nice team. It's a blend of shot making and good strong positions. Both of them don't seem to be afraid of the ball. I mean, both teams are very aggressive and very confident. So far, they seem to have the edge.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit quicker right now than their opponents, and getting off to such a good start, they were able to capitalize on that, on the early opportunity, Dolehide and Sanders, and so they can be a little more relaxed, take a few more chances. But they have been also so solid on serve. And the fact that they're looking to come in, be a little more aggressive, that's also contributed to their advantage. So many teams now serve and, you know, stay back at times, and sometimes when you're trying to return a big serve, you stay back because you just want to give yourself a little more time, a little more space. But I think there still has to be a happy medium between staying back and coming in, putting your team in the best position.
All right, Caty McNally,
Please take your seats, ladies and
Cincinnati,
gentlemen.
Ohio.
Players are ready.
Great tennis
Thank you.
town. A couple of Hall of Famers. Tony Trabert, a former world #1 back in the 50s. Bill Talbert. And how about the great Barry McKay? Also Nicole Gibbs of Cincinnati.
Led for
A
serve.
player out of Stanford. Of course, Ohio is Ohio experiencing a bit of a renaissance with some nice events on hand. WTA 250 event. Challenger events as well. Back in the 70s, hosted a number of Davis Cup ties.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, that little flick of the wrist from Sanders.
Low 15.
Not only is it difficult to catch up to, but you can't read that volley. No chance for McNally.
It happened so quickly. I'm wondering why Sanders is playing well. She's also in the mixed doubles final alongside fellow Aussie John Peers.
Led for serve.
Sanders and Peers take on Kirsten Flipkins, Edward Roger Vasselin. So that's a nice matchup for the mixed doubles title here at the Open.
Fifteen on.
And that little forehand volley for Townsend is like taking candy from a baby.
You wouldn't do that, would you?
You wouldn't actually do it, but that's how easy
It's
that
kind of
volley is for her.
It's like that. Yes, good exchange up there. Dolehide,
15-30.
like Taylor, they move to the middle so well. They cover that center part of the court.
I think this is where McNally, though, have to consider her throwing in some of the serving and volleying. Not the best place for them to be one up, one back with McNally from the ground. Oh, that's nice play. It's another way to change things up and get the net person involved immediately, is playing I formation, where the net person moves one way or the other. Decide ahead of time, and it allows you to play from a stronger position.
It gives the returners a different look. Sheesh, what a return.
Well, Townsend, you know, she's been trying to get a little more involved, but it's been difficult behind McNally's serve with these great returns. Just doesn't allow her to insert herself as much. So I formation kind of forces the net person into play. But you've got to get that first serve in.
And McNally needs to hit her spots. That was not the spot there.
Game. Dolehide
Just a
Sanders.
little wide there, so that's
Dolehide
another
Sanders
break
lead
of
5-1.
serve.
First set.
Two very skilled teams, but so far, it's Dolehide and Sanders, 5-1. A little surprised at how this is going. When you think of how well McNally and Townsend have played and how accomplished they are in doubles.
Yeah, it's been a quick start for Sanders and Dolehide. But it's still just the first set, and Townsend and McNally trying to just get something going here. So that
15.
even if they lose this first set, they can take a bit of that into the second. I thought they had it, but
15.
just long.
All the calls made by the electronic line calling system. So no lines people on the court, just a man in the chair. So no challenges, because it's the same system making the calls as we see in the challenge system. Do you like not having any lines people out there in the electronic line calling system?
Well, the thing I do like is that, you know, players can kind of get on with things quicker. Even if they question a call, they can see it immediately. And not a lot of gray area.
Yeah, there's a look at
Left
some of the
serve.
cameras that are installed to track the trajectory of all these shots.
Safe touch.
Sanders a couple points away, taking the opening set. Makes Nico's job easier. It's a chair, that's for certain.
It's been a real comprehensive effort from Dolehide and Sanders here in this first set, and got a set point on their racket.
Game on first set. Dolehide.
All right, so Sanders takes care of her serve, and that finishes off the opening set. Carolyn Dolehide storms Sanders. Take the opener 6-1.
Second set.
Doubles semifinals continuing here as Dolehide and Sanders are up a set. Caty McNally and Taylor Townsend, they're going to have to find a way back if they want to reach the championship match. Of course, McNally was in the finals last year alongside Coco Gauff, trying to get there again, this time with Taylor serving first in the second.
Team struggled to hold on to McNally's serve. So it's a nice change up to just get a slightly different look at the beginning of the set, but it still keeps them serving on the same side.
Out. 30 left.
Taylor must have great memories coming back to New York after her performance in the singles in 2019. Her best Grand Slam ever, reached the fourth round. Remember the tremendous win over Simona Halep. At that time, number 4 in the world.
Oh, that's another fantastic return from Sanders. That was such a wonderful match from Taylor Townsend, and I just remember how many times she came into the net. It was so fun to watch, constantly putting Halep under pressure. That's the type of tennis she's comfortable playing.
Maybe use a little more of that right now. Yeah, she was coming in behind that serve. On that day, Ash Stadium, beating Simona, she came to the net 105 times. 163 of them. Wow.
That's a perfect place to go, though, on the return, is right up the middle and create a little doubt as to who should take that ball. And with how well Dolehide hit it, it was past them before they could really react.
Dolehide's been playing a fair amount of singles as well. Some success, so she's trying to build her singles game too.
And that first serve from Townsend, 63 miles per hour, still missed into the net.
Wasn't a clean strike from Dolehide, but McNally was a little off time.
Yeah, it looked like McNally, she must have expected it to come a lot harder and just mistimed it when it was an easier shot.
Break point chance.
Game.
Boy, tough way to lose your serve on the double fault.
First game, second set.
Yeah, that's going to be a little discouraging. So they're going to have to keep their chins up here.
And some of those serves from Townsend were very slow. Wonder if she's purposely trying to not give them much pace, as we see the coaching teams of McNally and Townsend in the back. And the black hat is Taylor Townsend's coach, John Williams.
Here we go, Taylor. One at a time. Let's go.
He's really been doing a terrific job with Taylor, getting
Here we go.
her back, the fitness, getting her into terrific shape after having her son.
Taylor came out and won an ITF event in Charleston, $100,000 clay court event. So she's relearning the winning habits on the tennis court.
Now her son Aiden is just around, what, 10 or 11 months old now? Growing fast.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
I know. Try to slow it down a bit. Can't do it though.
I think they're the boss. Those babies, they're going to dictate play. Good ace down the center. Let's get to 15 all. Yeah, Dolehide comes from a real tennis family. Her sister Courtney played college tennis at UCLA, won an NCAA team title there. Stephanie, her sister, played tennis at West Point at the U.S. Military Academy. I think she graduated as second lieutenant Dolehide. Pretty impressive.
Fantastic.
Her brother, Brian, he's a golfer. Played golf at Florida Atlantic University.
There are times when you think professionals don't take their eyes off the ball. It happens more than you would think. Start looking over to where you want your shot to go, and oftentimes that's why we see some of the mishits.
And it seems like that happens a little more in doubles too, because you've got movement, the other team's moving, you've got smaller channels to hit into. There's that little movement there from Sanders, that can distract you from looking at the ball, and that's kind of what that move is intending to do.
That is heat from Dolehide.
Second set.
Yeah, I like that she just makes up her mind. She's just hitting it straight ahead. You know, force them to play a tough volley.
And it looked like McNally maybe thought that was going long. She had a play on it, but just falls in front of the baseline. You hit a ball that big, it kind of freezes the net person as well.
Tough to hit a shot coming that fast. There's McNally. Important game.
That's nice moving from Townsend. Got to start from somewhere. This stage, it's 1 point at a time. Trying to get on the board again here in the second set. Did win McNally's serve in the first set. It was actually Taylor Townsend serve that they won in that first set. McNally trying to hold serve here for the first time. You never quite feel fully in it until you can hold serve.
This would be big for McNally's confidence, and obviously down the break. You don't want to go down a double break.
Out. 14.
All right, so she's put herself in a good position at 40 love. Now that's what McNally needed. The team is on the board in the second. Down a break, however.
It's 2 games to 1.
It's one small
Second set,
step
number 1
in the
set to
right
love.
direction for McNally. Armstrong Stadium in the center. Named after the great jazz musician who hailed from Queens, New York, Louis Armstrong. Before the renovation, that was where all the championship matches were held. Well, she's got a great smash. Put that one away very skillfully. Not an easy lob, a little bit of topspin. Measured the drop, found the strings. Look at that off ball. Nicely done.
move. It started with McNally hitting the return and moving forward, putting that little additional pressure on Sanders at the baseline.
Townsend with a great return. Back-to-back-to-back break points.
Yeah, their first break points of this match.
Left reserve. Out. 15-40.
That's a good play. Didn't have to hit it quite that big, but gotta like the idea. See Caty McNally's mom there in the white hat.
Yeah, she really developed Caty's game, didn't she? That's Lynn. Excellent tennis coach. Good player as well. Short serve, and she got on top of it. So there is the break back. Two games all.
Second set.
Man, that was an invitation. You had to take that swing. USOpen.org is your online home for point-by-point live scoring, highlights, real-time stats, and draws. Visit the official tournament site at usopen.org.
That's such a confidence boost when you can finally break serve after not having any chances. And you can feel the positive momentum now that has swung McNally and Townsend's way. Almost a little bit of mix-up there between McNally and Townsend in the middle of that point as to who was going to take that overhead. Fortunately for them, they worked it out and got that point. Put even more pressure on their opponents. And that ball thrown up so high, lands right on the line. Completely turned this point around.
It allowed them to get that good position at the net. Boy, she hasn't missed a smash today. So chances for 3-2.
14-15.
Yeah, it's dangerous up there. That kind of shot coming at you.
You definitely have to avoid giving her time in the middle of the court. She nearly got that ball back. I mean, that went back over the net. It carried wide.
But, I mean, that's fair. Dolehide at the baseline. McNally trying to close. It's a good play.
First set, Dolehide Sanders.
All right, so back to business here in the doubles semifinals. This is Carolyn Dolehide serving. And nicely done. We mentioned Dolehide, a sister in the U.S. Military Academy, or graduate now. Sanders also has a military family. Her mom and dad, Michael and Janine, were in the Navy. Her brother Baden was in the Army. So a little nod to the military. The Dolehide Sanders do.
It's an excellent play from McNally, and that's one of the things she's been doing to turn this match around. Turning and coming in immediately. Dolehide under a little bit of pressure and comes up with a big serve right off the back of the line.
Former world #1, a U.S. Open champion. That's the Aussie, Sam Stosur. No doubt following the fortunes of her countrywoman, Storm Sanders.
Out. 40-15.
I believe Stosur was from Queensland originally. Pretty impressive list of players from a beautiful part of Australia. Patrick Rafter, Roy Emerson, Wendy Turnbull. Sam Stosur, Ash Barty, also from up in that part of the woods. And Storm Sanders is going to be the answer to a trivia question. As she comes across and finishes off with the volley. Who was the last player to win a doubles title with Ash Barty before Barty retired? And that would be Storm Sanders. They won the title in Adelaide.
That's a nice accolade to have, and that was an important hold for their team as well, just to stop this run with McNally and Townsend's.
Yeah, that was a big game. There were so many critical moments in the match. Obviously, the break back was key. Now for Dolehide and Sanders, just to get the 3-all. That was key.
A little cat and mouse tennis, and McNally has the last word. So solid above the shoulders. Confident hitting.
30 left.
Better serve from McNally. She hit the spot. Sanders was on the stretch. It's always a little different when your opponent's got their front foot down. It's ripping the ball, but if you get them sort of stretched out, they can't generate quite so much pace. McNally has really found the touch on the serve. Her partner helps her finish off the game, so that's 4-3.
Second set. First set, Dolehide Sanders.
Dolehide and Sanders are the seeded pair in this doubles semifinal. They've got the opening set. Someone's taking a little break. Storm Sanders getting ready for first service game.
Fantastic hands from Sanders. From that point, got very complicated for Dolehide. Finally able to get the line at the end. These are the kinds of exchanges we were expecting more of in the first set. Both teams so confident at the net, and McNally does a good job initially of keeping the team in it, and then Townsend having her say.
She uses pace so well on the volley. Uses pace pretty well on the return of serve, too.
Well, she has a nice whipping forehand at the very end. She gets enough spin so that it drops almost at the very end. So it moves away from Dolehide, but just enough spin to bring it in. That's a big serve. They needed that one. Constantly under pressure here on Sanders' serve. There's been a few points in this game now where Dolehide has been in good position to finish the point and hasn't quite been able to do it. Another break opportunity for McNally and Townsend.
There's the break.
McNally Townsend leads.
Oh, what a run of play for this pair. Get the game, and with it, the chance to serve for the second set. First serve on the first point. It's a nice way to get things going.
Trying to close out a set or a match is never easy, and those first 2 points become crucial just to allow the server to play from position of strength, a more relaxed position in the game.
Well, she was converting those forehands in the opening set, but not now. Impressively. They were down a set and a break, but they battled back to take it 6-3. We'll have a third for a spot in the final.
Final set.
All right, so Carolyn Dolehide will serve first in this final set. Barbora Krejcikova, Siniakova, the number 3 seeds, await the winner in the women's doubles championship.
Oh! 11-15.
Yeah, this pair was quarterfinals last year. Dolehide was a semifinalist with Vanya King back in 2019. Let's see if the experience of these players will be a factor. I mentioned McNally, a finalist last year with Coco Gauff.
Out. 15 all.
That's a disappointing miss there for McNally to not at least get that return in. Second serve. Dolehide facing already down love 15. That was the time to just apply a little more pressure. This becomes a very important game, more so for Dolehide and Sanders after losing that second set and just wanting to get on the board and get back to holding consistently, which is what they were doing in the first set. When you've got a partner active at the net that can put those balls away and also take a little pressure off you as the server. Nice move here by Sanders.
Yeah, no doubt about that swing volley. Very strong and confident finish. So that's a good start after a fairly disappointing finish in that second set. They were up 2-love, lost 6 of the next 7 games. So that's a bit of a hard reset, right, for Dolehide to get on the board there.
A hard reset. Easy to let that disappointment linger a little bit and affect the beginning of the third. All of a sudden, the pressure swings right back to McNally and Townsend here. They did such a terrific job in the second set of maintaining high energy and just cutting down on those unforced errors. That's where with Dolehide, you want to keep things out in front where you can adjust quickly by watching the net person in your peripheral. But McNally really smartly inserting herself and just forcing Dolehide to feel her. It's so important for that net person to move and help out. Just take a little tension off of the server, and McNally doing an excellent job there. McNally starting to be ready for Dolehide going at her. Good reflexes there. And good direction.
I almost feel like that's got to be Sanders' shot in the center there. She should be leaning in. It happened so quickly, though. The key moments as Taylor's able to finish off the game. Set all in a game all. This one is suddenly getting very interesting. It didn't look that way at the end of the first set. McNally, Townsend have started to find some of their best tennis. There's a reason why they're in the Final Four.
Here you go, Caty. Be ready in the middle.
McNally team, that front row there. Kevin O'Neill. Caty's mom, Lynn. His brother John played college tennis at Ohio State University. He's finding his way. ITFs and the Challengers. There's Lynn. I think she's seen a few tennis matches in her day.
Seen a few, played a few.
Out. 30 left.
Mentioned Sanders winning Adelaide, which was a WTA 500 event. She also won Berlin with Siniakova, Czech player who meets the winner of this doubles match.
Good intensity from McNally and Townsend. McNally getting used to having these balls come right at her. She was ready for it.
A 14-shot rally, most of them in the air. Nice to see all four players up in the front part of the court.
Left reserve.
Fires with the forehand.
See a bit of the tension on Dolehide's face right there. Good reflex, but thought that was going out. Again, in this tight part of the match, you've got to play those balls when you're in good position. Dolehide times has just had a little more tension in her, and some of those big shots, they're big, but they're not dipping. And you want some of those balls more at the feet than straight on.
Yeah, it's almost a trickier ball, isn't it, with all that spin dipping down. Players are pretty good with straight pace.
Especially when they know it's coming, they get kind of used to reflexing it. That's a big hold.
That is a big moment for Sanders. She takes care of her serve.
Final set.
Edge ahead, 2-1. USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. Indoor tennis facility. Louis Armstrong Stadium on the left. Inside, it's 2-1. Caty McNally serving.
This has been one of the changes in McNally from the ground. More aggressive, able to lean on more shots, and not giving up so much ground behind the baseline.
15 all.
Sanders with some
15,
strong shots.
13.
The left-hander doing well in that exchange.
Anticipation from Townsend.
30 all.
Best time to make that little move is when the returner puts their head down to hit the shot.
Exchange.
40-13.
So getting the game plan right. Where would you go with this first serve?
Probably go T.
It wasn't either tee or body. It was right into the forehand. They got away with it, though. 2 games all. McNally has joined the party. She's starting to pick up her play. Saw it in the second set, and here it is again in the third.
Well, it's a big difference as well when you add pressure into the match.
Stay connected to the U.S. Open on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Join the conversation with hashtag US Open.
This is another fantastic exchange. Dolehide just a little slow getting up to the backhand, and McNally, good intensity to execute that angle. Sometimes hitting the ball so big can work against you. Dolehide, a clean hit, but a little high. Again, McNally just on it. Time the forehand dipped a little bit more from Dolehide, and you can sense that she's feeling a little more tension, partly because of score. I mean, being tighter, you can't hit away as freely. So when you're up a break or 2 breaks of serve, Dolehide still under pressure here.
Break points coming up.
15-14.
the lead. Break advantage now in the third.
Final set.
Taylor Townsend and Caty McNally, it's sort of an unfamiliar position. They're ahead in the score. They've been behind most of this match. They found a way back. And now serving with a break advantage, 3-2.
15 left.
Yeah, good ball. Really good ball.
15 over.
She was caught behind the service line, but somehow found this little bit of inspiration. Earlier today, Rajiv Ram and Joe Salisbury won the men's doubles title. That's back-to-back for Rajiv. Nice to see the American playing so well in the dubs.
13, 15.
Wesley Kulhoff and Neil Skupski. It's Battle of the Brits. Whoever won the match, either Salisbury or Skupski, was going to be #1 in the world. So Salisbury back to the top of the ranks.
Feeling it now, McNally and Townsend.
14, 15.
It's not a break until you consolidate, and they are well on their way with this smash. This has been a terrific matchup, though, and this third set, continuing to see a lot of high-quality points.
Townsend
Scared to serve. 4 games to 2. Final set.
Point, good feet here.
Caty, big targets on returns. Big targets. Hers, you got to make it happen on her serve. Feet. Right here.
That's a common coach's suggestion. Hit to big targets. High percentage aggressive tennis.
McNally and Townsend have just been making Dolehide and Sanders play so many more balls, and makes things feel more pressurized. That's why McNally's mom is telling her big targets and feet. Just a little slow getting out to that one, and in the bottom of the net, at least make your opponents play.
Wonderful tennis. And in the end, Dolehide just crushing the forehand.
30,
But I think
15.
that's where McNally and Townsend are going to be most effective, despite that body shot.
I'd be keeping that racket a little more out in front
That's
when
right.
Dolehide winds up.
That's self-preservation up there. Dolehide this time able to finish.
McNally Townsend lead
That was
4
a
games
couple
to
of big
3.
moments
Final
for
set.
Sanders and Dolehide to get the game, stay within reach. They're down just the break. McNally Townsend 4-3. All right, this semifinal of the women's doubles coming down the stretch, 4-3. Caty McNally serving. A couple games away from a spot in the championship match. She's been here before.
Love 15.
Good point there from the left-hander, Sanders.
Out. 15 all.
That's another one of those returns where you just don't have to hit it that big and miss it by that much when you want to keep pressure on at this stage. But these are the challenges for both teams, trying to maximize their opportunities. Trying to get to a major final is a big deal, and you can imagine the tension and how badly both teams want it.
Maybe overplaying that forehand just a bit. All right, chances for McNally then to get to 5-3.
Well, this is where you want to perhaps keep playing Dolehide. She's missed a return, she's missed a volley, and then now that forehand. Keep going at the place. Serving the Sanders. Second serve here. This is what some of the conversations would be like.
(40-30). Yes.
A bit of tension creeping in there. Again, this is what it's all about, managing the pressure, managing your emotions.
Advantage, Dolehide.
What's happened? Couple of doubles. They're in a position to win this game. 40-15, now down a break point.
Yeah, not much that Townsend can do except just keep her partner positive here.
Into the forehands of Dolehide. Got away with it.
That's first serve though, and that was crucial. So yeah, you can't miss that return if you're Dolehide. Just shouldn't be that close.
That's incredible. The short forehand turned into an overhead for Townsend. What a break. I mean, you feel like it's all over here. But you're right, that shouldn't be anywhere near the net.
No, I mean, she's trying to hit right at Taylor from that position. That should be dipping and more in the middle. At the net person, but down low. Massive game for McNally to get out of after two double faults on top of it. This has got to feel good.
Some good work from McNally in the back of the court. 3. And they're headed to the U.S. Open Championship match. So wishing Storm Sanders good luck in the mixed doubles final. But it's Caty and Taylor who are going to be moving on in the women's doubles.
So a little bit of Francis Tiafoe doing that at the end of his win as well, but how sweet it is.